that worked. I guess we're going to be on my timeline. Hey, Chica. Hey, Matt. Awesome to see you here, buddy. Mariah, it's hot. I've heard that. I've heard it's super hot. All right. It looks like we're good. I think we're good we're on Facebook. Yes. And
okay. Hi.
Rebecca, are you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram. I'm like waiting for the invite.
I have to invite you maybe.
Yeah. Send me an invite and I'll join you.
Wait, okay. Invite.
Give it a second. Sometimes it. Instagram. Let's see. Oh, okay. Hold on a sec. Here we go. I see you.
Wait, Rebecca,
I'm gonna request to join. I'm gonna request to join.
Okay. We're going live on Instagram and on Facebook because wait. What was that, Rebecca?
Did it work?
On Instagram and on Facebook because I think so. Wait. What was that, Rebecca? Dun, dun, dun. Here comes Rebecca.
Oh, it's loading. It's loading. Okay, okay, we're here. How's it going? Hello.
Hey, oh man, this is great. Okay, so we've got so many amazing people here.
Hey everybody.
Yeah. So if you haven't already said hi to us, let's just see who's here in the chat.
Yeah, who's here?
We've got Erin, so good to see you. Mariah,
hey.
Edward, Evan, Terry. Matt is in Mexico, but he's going to be traveling all around the world. Matt, so glad you're here. Adventures of Hannah, packing my flight leaves in 3 hours.
Oh, yes. Where are you going?
Yeah, let us know. All right, cool. Lynn's Dev, hey Dev. All right, awesome. Cecilia, what's up? All right, everybody.
Hey everybody.
Cool. So say hi. We're so happy to have you. And Rebecca's here with us today, and we're going to talk all about why becoming a virtual assistant is one of the fastest ways to start making money online. Rebecca can attest for that. I can attest for that. And she's got amazing nuggets to share with us today. So we're just going to introduce ourselves for anyone who doesn't know who we are. And then we're going to dive into the good stuff and we're going to tell you everything you need to know.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah, awesome. So if you don't know me, my name is Kayla. I'm the owner of the Travel Movement. I help adventurous spirits just like you break free, work remotely, and travel the world. If that's your dream, I'm your girl. And, I've been traveling the world for 6 years now. I've been all around to many, many different places and have just had a backpack on my back and a laptop in hand and made money anywhere I could. One of those ways of being a virtual assistant. So, Rebecca, let me give you the floor and shine your light and tell us all about who you are.
Okay, well, thank you. Hi, everybody. So my name is Rebecca, and I am a client-first virtual assistant mentor and a business growth strategist. I started my business almost 7 years ago now with the intent to actually live in a van. So my goal 7 years ago was to become part of the van life movement. I have currently a van. I've built a van twice, and I lived and traveled and did all that fun stuff in the van for a while. I started out as a virtual assistant 7 years ago, and since then, I was able to grow my business to levels that I never even honestly thought was possible. And something I am just super passionate about is helping other people really create a life by their own design. So whether that be, digital nomading and living in all these different countries, or traveling in a van, or even just staying at home with your kids, my true passion is to help people make that a reality. So I'm so happy to be talking to everybody today and to talk to you, Kayla. This is the first time we've actually connected like one-on-one in real life. I'm going to put that in quotes, but I'm so happy to meet you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been like super excited for this because they want to know, right? I mean, this is the way, like we have to make money in order to live.
Yes.
We can't do this without money. So everyone's been super excited to meet you and to get to know you. And they're all like, where can we find her? Where can we follow her? So this is awesome. So I thought an amazing way to start off would be for you to share with us and maybe me a little bit. How did your journey of becoming a virtual assistant begin? Like, what was the beginning? What was the transition into actually like doing it for the first time 7 years
Yeah,
ago?
that's a great question. So I had been working in, a corporate 9 to 5 salary job, worked in an office, worked in a cubicle, did all that good stuff. And to be honest with you, becoming a virtual assistant wasn't really ever something I had considered because I felt like it was almost a step down from what I was doing. I'm like, I don't want to become a virtual assistant. I feel like I have so many more skills and experience and all these things. Until I started actually applying for positions and putting myself out there and realizing that a lot of virtual assistants were making 4 times, 5 times the amount of money that I was making, while also being able to travel at the same time and having the freedom of owning your own business and making your own money. That is something that there's no other feeling. Working for somebody is one thing, working for yourself and becoming financially dependent on you and you alone is a whole other feeling. So there was that hurdle in my mind of, I don't really want to become a virtual assistant, but also I don't know if I have, enough skills to just be a copywriter or just be a social media manager. And to be honest, I don't like just doing one thing. I love doing so many different things and helping my clients out in so many different ways. So I kind of just started figuring out like, all right, maybe I'll just be a virtual assistant. I'll try it. Like, who knows what's going to happen? And I tried it and I absolutely fell in love with it. I fell in love with the people that I was meeting, the clients that I was working with, the projects, the variety of projects that I was able to work on. That, to be honest, all of those worries that I had before, I just completely forgot about because I knew that it was something that was going to change my life. And it truly, truly did.
Totally, totally. I mean, to feel that kind of freedom, right? I mean,
Yeah, freedom
like,
is the best way to describe it. It really, truly is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, that's so beautiful. That's such an amazing story that, just transitioning into and not even thinking you were going to do it at first. I think that's a really important thing.
No, I did not think I was going to do it at all. And to be honest, at that point, I did not care what job I had. I'm sure a lot of you are probably feeling like this right now. Like, I want to travel. I want to live in a van. I want to do what I want. I want to work on a beach. And I honestly don't care what I'm doing while I'm there. But what I do care about is, making enough money to be able to sustain the actual life that I want to live, not living to work, but working to live, right?
Yes, I was literally thinking about that this morning. I was like thinking about some like situations, most situations. I was actually thinking about my own parents, and I was like, they
Yes.
they are working to just live.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, it's just like
So many people do that throughout their entire life. And that's honestly one of the reasons I've become so passionate about helping other people do it, because I think that sometimes people get comfortable, and helping people really get to their full potential and having that freedom and being able to live, like you said, like my parents are the same way, right? Like one of them stayed at a job for like 60 years of their life. It was just like, and I can't imagine doing that. Like, what kind of life is that, right?
yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's not, I mean, I think that's the life that we're told to live. It's the life
Yes,
that everyone lives. I mean, how would you know any different? And that's
exactly.
why I'm so passionate about traveling, because traveling was the thing that showed me it didn't have to be that way. It was the step towards realizing there was so much more.
Yeah.
And it's like a continuous journey, right? So awesome, awesome. Okay, so everyone's dying to know, what are the different ways to become a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so there are two main ways. And the one thing that I absolutely love about becoming a virtual assistant is that it is the fastest way to use the skills you already have, your past experience, to start working online. You don't need to take courses to learn new things. You don't need to learn new platforms. You don't need to learn anything. All you need are the skills that you already have and a deep want to help people. That really is, at the end of the day, I say this so much, that at the end of the day, your skills really don't matter. It really is more about that personal one-on-one connection that you're having with your potential clients or the company. So in general, there are two main ways to become a virtual assistant. I'm sure that there are other ways, but these are the two main ways. So the first way is to work for a virtual assistant company. And I think, Kayla, you have an experience in that, where you're essentially applying for a position just like you would, a more traditional job. It would be a remote position. So there are things you can do to, remotify your resume and make it more, easier for you to start to land those kinds of positions. So doing that is one way. It is a little bit more of a secure way to do it, because you are going into that sort of like more traditional style job where you have an employer and everything from like a financial perspective is kind of taken care of. You have more security. And then on the flip side, there is the way that I personally prefer, because it does really allow you the ultimate level of freedom, right? I'm sure you do have a lot of freedom when you're working for these companies as well. But if what you want is to be completely self-reliant, then starting your own business as a virtual assistant, starting your own service-based business, you can think of it in a way sort of like a freelancer. You're a freelance, virtual assistant. You run your own show, you get your own clients, you manage your own time. That is the second way. And that is the way that I am the most passionate about helping people get to. I've helped people land jobs at VA, agencies and companies as well. But those are the two main ways. And some people do both, right? Some people start out with, just doing the VA hiring, working with a VA company. And then after they, do that for a little bit and they get more comfortable with the services they're offering and how to work with clients, then they can decide to then start their own business. So you can do a mixture of both. You can do one or the other. It's really your own, personal preference.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for outlining that for us, and that nails it for me. I mean, like, I have became a virtual assistant a couple different ways. I'll share really quickly. Like,
Yeah.
first time, well, the first job I ever had, I was an executive assistant. So that helps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
That
great.
helps. And that was through networking. So I was like in university, and then I was like doing an internship, and through networking, someone was like, do you want to be my executive assistant? Which honestly was like the easiest way ever to get a job, just like knowing people can help. Right.
Exactly.
And then so that went on for a while, but then I told him, I was like, I'll work for you for a year and then I'm gonna go travel the world. And he was like, okay, no.
Yeah.
So then I did that.
That's fantastic. That's like such an amazing way to get started. I feel like it's such a good experience to have.
Yeah, well, it set me up for a good future, because then a couple years down the road, so I had like traveled around, I was teaching English online, and then like my former boss was like, let's catch up over Zoom, and I was like, cool. And then we caught up, and he was like, well, hey, I don't have a assistant right now. You want to come back and work for me? But this time it wasn't in office, so this time it was remotely.
Nice.
So it was like, that was my first virtual assisting gig, and it literally happened like overnight. And I did have like things that set me up really well for that, but at the same time was literally just like networking and being in front of the right person who needed my help, and like also gaining their trust. And I didn't know anything when I first started working with him, and he didn't expect me to know anything. He expected me to learn and to apply. And so whatever came along, that I would do that. And that worked great. And then, so then I was like, I'm gonna start my own business. Thank you so much. It's been great. But now I'm heading on to my own ventures. And then, so I did that for a while. And then I was like, oh shoot, I need an income.
Yeah, I know. I had the same similar situation. I'm like, oh, okay, I need money now to eat. Great.
So then I was like, okay. I was like searched online, and started looking at all these different job boards, and then I just started applying for all these jobs. Like I wasn't even like really, I was like, if I get one, cool. And then like this agency got back to me and they were like, yeah, we want to chat more. And then it was like day 3 we were chatting, day 5 was the interview, and like day 6 I was like ready to work with clients, and it was just like boom right away.
That's amazing.
Making money. And then, I've been with the agency. I've worked with working like 8 different clients at once.
Crazy. That's crazy. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing I find with the working with the agencies is that, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you don't get as much of a deep relationship with the clients because you are working with so many different people, and often they switch you to other projects and things. So if that's something that you care about, like the building of the relationships with people, which is something I personally really care about, it's doing that, like learning how everything works first in that agency model, and then taking everything you've learned and applying that to your own business. That is like the ultimate, success, because you're bringing all of that knowledge and you're getting paid to learn it, right? You're getting paid to learn all these different processes and things that you can then carry over. So it's a fantastic, fantastic way to start.
Yeah. And I just want to mention, so when you do it that way, the way that I've done it, or like if you work for an agency, like they're taking a huge percentage, right? So
yes.
This is a problem. Like it's a good way to start and a good way to learn. And I love how you just said that, is literally like learn it, and then you can just apply all of that to your own business. So it's like the secret like formula for success.
Definitely.
And having you in their corner too.
Yeah, definitely. It's honestly, it's learning that I think gives people more confidence. If you don't have a lot of confidence, in yourself or in your skills, working at an agency first it could be a really, really great option for you because it is lower risk. But as Kayla said, you're not making the money that you would be making as a business owner, but you also don't have the level of like responsibility that you would have as a business owner. So again, it's some people work for agencies their entire life, and that's totally fine with them. Other people want more of that freedom, want to be able to run their own business and make more money and do all those things. And that's when you need to start to evaluate and say, okay, is it worth it for me to run my own business? Do I think I can do this?
Totally. I would say like working for an agency or like would probably be the fast track, but like in the short term.
Yeah, it depends. It honestly depends, because some people like you got the interview, you just got started, right? Where some people I've known that have applied for agencies and they like haven't gotten it right away, or maybe they live in, another country where they prefer like only American people apply for, this specific agency, or only people in North America. So it honestly, it depends. Like people have had success in so many different ways that I think it just depends on what's going to work for you. And also, if you don't know what works for you, try it all. Try it. Like there's no rule that says you need to do that and then you need to do this. Try it all, dip your toes in, see what works for you. And even after you've become a virtual assistant, maybe you realize, oh, I'm really good at copywriting. Now I'm going to be a copywriter. That is the freedom of doing what you want and living your life by your own design. You get to choose if one day you wake up and all of a sudden now you're a copywriter and you're not doing VA work anymore. It can be a great stepping stone and it can be a great long-term career. But the best part about it is you can make it whatever you want it to be.
You can make it whatever you want, and you're going to learn so many skills along the way.
Yes. Oh my God.
A million things that are going to make you so valuable. But I think you mentioned a good thing is like just having that confidence to be like, I can do this, even if I don't feel super comfortable like in Excel sheets, or I don't feel super comfortable.
Oh yeah, no, I suck at Excel sheets, like big time. Yeah.
But we learn along the way. And then our clients also know our strengths, right? And that's like
Exactly. Yeah, the best way, especially when you're starting out with your own business, is finding clients that match your strengths, right? So it's like you're filling in the gaps that they're currently missing in their business. And that's the whole reason that they're hiring you, right? They're not hiring you to do jobs that, they know how to do really well. They're hiring you to help them succeed and to fill in those gaps. So yeah, that's a perfect point, is that you need to find clients, business owners that have those complementing strengths.
Yep, yep. And working with business owners that you're interested in, right? Like, I mean,
For
like
sure.
if you're not interested in like finance, then don't go working for don't go searching for finance clients. Like I am really interested in like business coaching and coaches. So
Yeah.
that's what I like to work with. And I know that. So that's why I can go for, because then it's like even better. It's like, oh, I get to learn about coaching and I get to improve
Well,
my behavior.
exactly, right? It's like using this to your advantage. And if you are really passionate about coaching, or you're really passionate about like the wedding industry, then you can select to work with clients that are already in those industries. And not only are you making money by helping them run their business, but you're also getting invaluable training, on the job training for, if in the future you want to start your own coaching business or your own wedding business. So it is, I'm telling you, it's such a fantastic stepping stone to so many other things that are available to you in your life, if that's what you want.
Yeah. But I think, I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think it's also about just like, there's kind of a box that society puts us in, and we've got to step out. It's scary, but we've got to think outside of that box. That's one of the very first steps, because if we confine ourselves to the traditional way, it's going to be really, really, really hard to get started. We have to trust ourselves to make that step, to make that leap, so that we can actually try something new. And it's not only a journey of like business, growing your business, but it's so much a journey of trusting yourself, of believing in yourself. You can actually do this, and then feeling that and seeing it come to life, and you start to, gain confidence in that way. And then your business can grow even more. So good.
Definitely. I'm working on my website right now, and my copywriter / VA was helping me finesse some wording, but we developed this really fun headline that was, have the audacity to live the life by your own design. And I think that encompasses perfectly what you just said, because it really is a life by your own design. We can sit here and tell you what we've been through, our experiences, and that's great. If you're drawing inspiration from it, you're taking learnings from it. But at the end of the day, the only way you're going to be happy and live that life that you dream of is if you design that life yourself, and you do what's right for you, and you have the confidence and the courage really to step into your own. And Kayla's right. It takes a lot more courage than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Like it is very, very, very hard to decide you want to step outside of society's predetermined narrative. And once you start doing that, at first it's going to be very scary, but once you start doing that, you're going to start to realize how empowering it is, and how much of you is being revealed and brought to the surface in living in a life that's authentic to you. And becoming a virtual assistant is a fantastic way to start that journey.
Totally. Oh, I love it. Okay. We're like getting on this like.
I know, I'm so happy we're talking. This is so great.
Like, we're on our TED Talk now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into like the logistics. Okay, so like, what steps does somebody need to take? What are the 5 steps to actually like doing this thing from like 0 to fully ready to like actually, actually having clients and them paying you money?
Yeah, real money. So there are like a million different places you could start with this. If you have been interested in this, you may have done research and found articles and found all these different things that, tell you to start here or start there. So I'm going to tell you what my process is, the process that I tell, the people that I'm mentoring, and honestly, even some of my business growth strategy clients as well, depending on where they're at. And the first thing really is like going back to the life by your design, you need to really understand why you're doing this. That is the very first thing you need to know, because that statement, that internal why that you have in the back of your mind is what is going to get you up in the morning when you don't want to. It's what's going to continue to motivate you as you go through the challenges that you're going to face. This is not going to be an easy path. There are going to be challenges, whether it's external challenges or internal challenges, right? So having a really, really clear idea of why you're doing things, and something that I go through in my course actually is disconnecting your why statement from material things. So for example, a lot of people that I've mentored, one of their main purposes, of becoming a virtual assistant was to travel. And then COVID happened and we couldn't travel anymore. We couldn't go anywhere, right? So internally you think, well, why am I even doing this? If the whole reason I was doing this was so I'd be able to travel and have the freedom, and now I can't travel, I don't have the freedom. Why am I still doing this, right? So disconnecting from, let's say, travel being the why and actually integrating it more into something that is at the heart of travel. Why do you travel, right? It's to have more adventure. It's to experience new things. So instead of making your why specifically about something that could change due to external influences, you need to make your why statement something that no matter what happens, you're still going to be able to apply. So that's the first thing that we talk about. And that is very underrated, but I think is extremely important, because being a business owner is very hard. It's challenging. The freedom is amazing. But again, it's not just a walk in the park, right? It really is a challenge, especially when you've never done something like this before. So that really is the first place to start. The second place then to go is to decide what sort of path you want to take, right? Do you want to start working with an agency? Do you want to start your own business? Do you know what's involved in starting your own business? Do you know what's involved in working with an agency? What are the pros and cons of each? And really taking the time to sit down and think about these things. Before I became a virtual assistant, I thought about becoming a virtual assistant for probably like 2 years. Or just working online or starting my own business, right? So I had been thinking about this for a very long time. I had gone through all the pros and cons in my mind, and I felt by the time I made that step, I did feel another level of confidence that I had not felt, if I hadn't done all that upfront work. It really is sort of a mental, like emotional state change that you're making within yourself, and that shift needs to happen in order to be successful. So understanding what way you want to go is key. Once you've decided that, you need to start figuring out what skills you've learned from past jobs, past experiences, and what innate talents you have inside. So even though I always say that clients do not hire based on skills, understanding what your skills are actually gives you the confidence to confidently pitch yourself to somebody. Again, the client doesn't care about your skills, but they care about your confidence. They care about how you can articulate your experiences and how you can help them. And in knowing those skills and in knowing those talents, you are equipping yourself with that background knowledge of, oh yeah, I'm like a boss. I know I can do this. I've done XYZ before a million times. It's a walk in the park for me. And then you come off more confident. So skills and talents are the third thing. The fourth thing that is very important that a lot of people they think about, but they don't actually think about it clearly, is your rate. So if you're going to work for a company, or even if you're going to work for yourself, you need to understand how much money you need to make to live. So a lot of people, they just start their business, they do a little bit of research, what's the average amount that a virtual assistant gets paid per hour? Let's say it's $20, and then that's their rate. And what they've just done is set themselves up for failure and not making enough money to maintain their lifestyle, because they've decided their rate based on, again, an external factor and not on what's going to actually work for them in their life. So what you need to do, whether you're going to work at an agency or start your own business, is really get a clear understanding of what your current living expenses are. If you want to maintain your current lifestyle, sometimes people are happy to take a bit of a pay cut if they can work online and travel. I know a lot of people that have done that. You definitely do not have to do that. And in fact, a lot of the time you actually make way more money once you start working online. But having a good baseline understanding of how much money do I need to make per hour or per project in order to actually survive and be able to afford flights and be able to afford nice dinners out, be able to afford like a little excursion to like the mountains. You don't want to start up this business and then go to buy your flight and realize that, you know, my flights are $2,000 and I don't have $2,000. How am I going to travel? Right? Like that's not what you want to happen. So you want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of how much money you need. You know, it can change depending on what country you live in, what your, you know, lifestyle is like. So many things can influence that, right? Then after you've decided your rate and you've, you know, really got that down again for what you need, then you're able to go and start to think about your resume / pitch. So even if you're going to apply to an agency, I think it's still a really good idea to be able to pitch yourself properly, to be able to know how to confidently talk about yourself and the services that you're offering, and also make that good first impression, you know, via email when you're reaching out. So whether you're going to start your own business or whether you're going to work for an agency, making sure that you have really thought about what you can help that particular client or agency with, what your skills are, and how you can help their business grow. That's something that comes later and will definitely get better over time, because pitching definitely is something you need to practice, and nothing gets better without practice. So your first few pitches or outreach probably won't be that good. But the more you do it, the more you practice, the better they'll get. So those are sort of the first 5 things. Again, there are a lot of other little pieces in that need to be integrated, but from a fundamental level, those are the 5 things that once you have a great idea and a great understanding of those things, you are highly likely to succeed.
That was so beautiful. Boom. I'm like, there's so many things there that resonated with me. I'm like,
I know, I saw you like writing down things. I'm like, oh no, she has questions. Should I stop? I'm in like a good flow right now.
you were in the perfect flow. There was gonna be no interruption of that beauty right there.
Thank you.
But I do want to chime in on a few things. So
yeah,
like,
go for it.
with the why. I mean, this was so good. Did you all hear this? Tell us, put in the chat, because I want to hear from everybody who's listening here, like about the why, because this is so freaking good. Because like that made me think about when I started traveling, my why for like I honestly wasn't even like really into travel. Like I kind of was, but the bigger thing I was into was personal development. So I wanted something.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing.
New experience. I wanted to try something new. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. That's literally like what you said, right? And it's like that's what drove me to like try new experience. It wasn't like, I mean, I did like travel, but the major thing was like, I just want to do something that's going to help me grow and, you know, and so good. So if you all are thinking about your why, let us know if anyone wants to share in the chat.
Yeah, and if anyone has questions, drop them in. I'll answer anything. We can both answer.
Yeah, and then, so the way that you're going to do it. So, okay, but number 1 is why. Number 2 is the way you're going to do it. So it's going to be either like going with an agency or starting your own business. And you really have to consider this, because if you are going to start your own business, like this is serious. It's not just like, well, you know, like it's going to be hard. You're going to have to put in a lot of work. It's going to be worth it in the end, but it's not something you can just play around with. Like you've got to really be like, I'm actually doing this, and then have your why for the business.
Exactly. And you can have more than one why as well, but I like to choose one sort of foundational thing that, you know, you're focusing on, and then building off of that. And again, disconnecting it from material things is something that's key. When I first started, I did this process myself, but I connected my why to material things. And that's when I started realizing this is not working, because my why was to travel in a van. Okay, well, my van kept breaking down. Literally, my life story was the van's in the shop. I can't travel because the van's breaking down. And it was like, why am I even doing this? You know, why have I been doing this, right? So disconnecting it from the material things is a key aspect to this, because it will allow you to sort of like transcend material things and really truly get to the heart of why you're doing the things you're doing.
So good. So good. Listen to Rebecca, y'all. She's got the key. I'm telling you, that's so good. So let's see, we have some people in the chat. So
okay, great. Yes, ask the questions. I can't see the chat, so you tell me what it says.
Okay, I'll read you answer.
Okay.
Teamwork. Okay. My why is time freedom to work from home, as I'm a caregiver for an elderly parent.
That's really good. That's really good. So time and freedom is a good why. I would say if you want to refine it, I would get specific. Why do you want the time, right? Why do you want that time? And why do you want that freedom? Because for a long time of, growing your business or even applying for jobs, you're probably not going to have a lot of freedom or a lot of time, especially when you're starting out, right? So it's like, why do you want that freedom? Ultimately, at an ultimate level, why is freedom so important to you? Or why is having time, so important to you? Is it because you want to, do work out in your community? Is it because you want to be able to nurture relationships with your family or with your loved ones? So start to think about them one step further. Why? Ask yourself why. When you think of a why, okay, my why is I want more freedom. Okay, well, why do I want that? Just keep asking the why question until you distill it all the way down.
That's so good. Okay, we've got okay, well, AS Toronto gave us a new answer. Ultimately, to spend more time with my dad before he passes.
That's amazing. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's great. I love that. And I feel that I actually recently have felt similar things to that, because my parents are getting older as well. And I thought like, wow, I am so fortunate to have built this business that I can say, I'm coming to see you. Or if if they get into the hospital, I can leave literally at the drop of a dime and go and spend as much time with them as I want. So that is a fantastic, fantastic reason why.
Yeah, I would agree with like that freedom of working remotely. Like, I could literally go back. I can visit whoever I want, whenever
Exactly.
I want. If I want to be with my best friend, I can. If I want to be with my mom, my sister, my grandpa, anytime, literally anytime. I don't have to worry about that. And that's just like something that is not a norm, which is crazy, because how is that not a norm?
It's something that matters so much to life too. Like it's honestly, once you have this level of freedom, right? You start to think back to when you didn't have it, and you start to think about like your relationships. For me, for example, I don't want to have kids, but all my friends have been having kids. It's just like that time in life. And I have been able to go and help them, take care of their like newborn babies, because I can work from wherever I want. So I can go over, they can have a nap, they can have like a break, a shower, and I'm there and I'm, supporting them, and I'm sort of I'm fostering a sense of community within my immediate circle. And it's hard because I am probably the only person that has that level of freedom. So, they really appreciate it. But then at the same time, it's like, I wish they had that freedom at the same time so they could like give it back to me. Not like it's a transactional relationship, but I want that for them, right? I want them to experience what I've experienced. But really the only way you can do that is by designing the life you want and going after it. Truly.
Yep. So we've got another one in here from Terry, my girl Terry. She's a good friend of mine.
Hey, Terry.
And Terry's talking about traveling too, so this is really good. So
Love
Terry, you might actually be a great VA. So we should talk about this more or get connected with Rebecca, but more free time, eventually stay at home with my kids. And I also want that, Terry.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And yeah, I mean, the best part about being a virtual assistant, or one of the best parts, honestly, it's all great. So I don't want to say the best part, but one of the best parts is that flexibility of working whenever you want, right? So, if you have kids, it's great because, when they're up and they're around and they're, doing their thing, you can be with them. You don't have to be sitting at your computer. Then when they go and have a nap, you can do some work and you're able to really balance that out. The one little caveat to that I've seen happen with some people that I've mentoring is that they don't have a dedicated office space in their house. So that can be a challenge because if you need to work or you're on a call and you don't have that sort of separated space, it can be distracting. So just keep that in mind. Of course, you still have the flexibility, but at the same time, also setting boundaries like for yourself and your personal space and your personal time is key in maintaining the level of success that you want.
Perfect. Talking about that, I wanted to mention, I saw that you were like house sitting the other day. It doesn't look like.
Yeah.
But I've done that, like working remotely plus house sitting. I mean, you can do it paid or free, but I've been paid to stay in mansions. Meanwhile, making money online is like double, like amazingness.
Yes.
Like how much better can it get? This like mansion had like a movie theater, a huge hot tub that overlooked the mountains. And meanwhile, I'm literally making money while I'm staying in a mansion. They're paying me and I'm working remotely. And so it's like, this is where it comes into like budgeting, right? Because I think budgeting is so underrated. It's one of like the most underrated things ever. Because like really it is about how much you make, but it's so much about how much you're spending.
For sure. Yeah. And I think too, when you start your own business, becoming a virtual assistant as a business, aside from the agency, it is a very low cost way it's probably the cheapest way to start your own business because you really don't need to invest a lot. But as your business starts growing, you are going to need to make investments, in your business, whether that be tech or apps or, even courses for yourself. Like if you want to do, a coaching program with somebody else, or you want to work with me, for example, you're putting those investments into your business. So it gets to a level where you definitely need to make sure you're budgeting your business side of things and your personal side of things. For me, I do house sitting. I actually technically do dog sitting. So I dog sit and then I only dog sit if I can stay at that person's house while I'm doing it. So it's actually a hybrid dog sitting, house sitting situation. I do it for fun. Honestly, I do it as a break from my partner because sometimes he drives me crazy and it's a nice little vacation, honestly. And I get paid for it, right? So there are so many other little things that you can do, whether that be house sitting or even like volunteering. I know so many people who, love volunteering at like the women's shelter down the street. And they never had time to do that because they were always at work. They would get up at 7 a.m. and they'd have to get to work and they'd be home at like 7 p.m. and they had no time to do anything like that. So whether it be just having more time to do like things that you're passionate about, helping out in your community, or like fun little side projects or like gigs where you're just, getting paid to watch someone's house or watch someone's, mansion or their dogs because you just love dogs. These are all things that are available to you because you're now designing your own life, right? You're now saying, I like dogs, I want to watch dogs, and I like getting money. So I'm going to go do that. And that's as easy as it is. You don't have to ask anybody. You don't have to request vacation time. You don't have to do anything. You just go. It's amazing.
Yeah, you just go. And you got to, I would say the main thing is you have to be responsible. Like
for sure. Yeah.
Be in charge of your life now.
Yeah.
This is the shift. Now you are responsible and in charge for your life. So like, okay, you've got a lot of freedom, but you are just, you got to step it up.
Yes, you definitely have to step it up. There is no coasting. There is no someone else will take care of it. There's no someone will tell me what to do. It really is you driven. It's everything that happens in your life is driven by you and your decisions and what you want those outcomes to be of your decisions, right? So definitely responsibility is a huge thing. I think it's something that a lot of people don't consider, honestly, at first, is the level of responsibility that you're now going to have to yourself, and the success of your life, because you're no longer depending on anybody for anything. It really is led by you.
Yep, yep, yep. We've got a couple more things here in the chat.
Okay.
Matt says freedom. Okay, I think this is why freedom and long-term happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I would, go a little, I would try to pry a little bit deeper there. I would again ask why. Like, why do you want long-term happiness? Why don't you already have long-term happiness? And start really getting deep into it. The deeper that you can go into this, the more it's going to actually help to motivate you. Like, at the end of the day, yes, freedom obviously is totally motivating, but what is it about the freedom that's motivating to you? And really try to articulate it. And this is a very good exercise just generally for communication. And communication is a talent that you must have as a virtual assistant. Being able to really clearly translate your ideas and thoughts into written form is something that you must have, you must be good at. So doing exercises like this not only helps you, but it also helps improve those kinds of skills as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay. Evan, my good friend Evan, he's actually one of my clients.
Hey, Evan. Nice to meet you.
And he's working remotely for a company right now, but he does want to transition into owning his own business. So he's asking us, did we both register our businesses in the US? And yes, I have a registered business in the US. Rebecca?
My business is registered in Canada. Right now I live in Montreal, which is the French part of Canada. And I don't speak French though. And, but I'm originally from Toronto. So my business is registered in Toronto. One thing I would say about business registration is I think a lot of people get really worried that like they need to do everything correctly, or like they need to register their business right away. And that's not really the case. Like until you start making a substantial amount of money, here it's like $35,000 plus, then you need to register your business. And I think the threshold is similar to that in the States. So if you're just doing like side jobs right now, like if you're currently working in a corporate job and you want to start a business, start the business. Like I wouldn't go through the process of doing all that stuff until you have proven the business idea, like actually, had some sales and what way you want to take it, that you actually enjoy doing it as well. Because sometimes people start a business and they think, oh yeah, no, this is not for me. Okay, peace out. And then you don't have to worry about, going back and doing all that stuff. So I would really recommend that if what you want ultimately is to start a business, I would just start it. Like start making products or start offering your services, see if you like it, see where that takes you. And if it gets to a point where you're making like, you've made like, 15 grand or 20 grand from that business, then I would start thinking about registering it. Registering it in the country where you're from is usually like recommended if that's your home base. Oh, did I lose you? There you go.
Oh, just for a second. We're back.
Okay, good. I was like, if this thing shuts down, I swear to God. Yeah, so I know. I was like, but then I remembered we had Facebook going and I'm like, oh, hey guys. So yeah, I would recommend registering it in like the place where your home base is.
Yes, I would agree. I think you are like so spot on about like, did I lose you again?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I can see you.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on, but I was gonna say that, like you said, like it's more important to just start getting clients, just to start making money, just to start making sales. And once you see that's going smoothly, then of course register. And I actually have a tax guy who's great for digital nomads that I can refer anyone to who needs. So let me know if you need somebody to help you set it up. He's very, very, very affordable and very trustable, since he's been my tax guy and many other helps many other digital nomads as well. So good. Okay. Can you hear me, Rebecca?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's frozen on Instagram. Am I frozen?
No,
Oh, that's
no,
weird.
you're not frozen. Just keep going. It might just be like, I don't know. No one's frozen for me.
Nobody, not you.
Nobody, no.
Not
But you know
okay.
what? I could leave and come back. Am I still frozen?
I don't think it's necessary. You are for me. I mean, if anyone in the chat can let us know how things are going on their end. But okay, so Rebecca, I'm really curious. Okay, that's cool. So Evan, you can see everybody. Must be on
Okay.
mute. Okay, so let's talk about let's talk more about like if someone is like, okay, you've convinced me, like I'm into this. This seems like a really good option. So like what did your path look like? How did you get your first few clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. So once I decided that this was something I really wanted to do, I started sort of putting all my feelers out in every direction. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see new VAs making is they're only focusing on finding clients in one place. So they're only focused on using Instagram to find clients. So they're only focused on Upwork, a freelancing platform. So what I did was I just sort of like went all into everything. I started telling people about what I was going to do. And to be honest, I had told a lot of people about my, my dream to build a van and to travel in the van. And that's a little side note, is that if you ever want to really do something in your life, tell people about it, because people will hold you to it. And they'll say, why haven't you started your van adventure yet, Rebecca, when you've been talking about it for the last 2 years? So I had a little bit of, external pressures sort of saying like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So finally, when I announced it, so many people were like, congratulations, that's so great. And my first client I got on Upwork, which is a freelancing platform. And my second client I got through a referral from telling somebody about what I was doing, and then they referred me to them. I think that both of those ways are amazing. There are so many other ways. I've actually been doing a series about it on my Instagram account of all the different ways you can find clients, because there truly are so many ways that you can find clients. Like there is an endless number of ways, right? So some of those ways are through freelancing platforms. Some of them are from referrals. Some ways you can also do this is through cold outreach. So reaching out to people who you really want to work with and sort of pitching yourself to them. Different communities like Facebook groups, paid membership groups are a really great way. So for me, I started out with Upwork, which at the time was not as popular as it was now. Again, this was 7 years ago that I started. So 7 years ago, Upwork was alive, but it was not the level that it's at right now. So Upwork was really successful for me over the last few years. I've also found other clients from there. But I knew from the very beginning that I did not want to be a transactional virtual assistant, that I did not want to work with people on a project by project basis or on a task by task basis. I always knew that that's not what I wanted, because I knew my why, right? I knew that I really wanted to build those relationships with people and really foster a good community. So all of the people that I chose to work with were people that I told that I wanted to work with them for years. I'm like, my goal is to work with you until like I can't work with you anymore. Like I want to work with you 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. I want to be with you as your business grows, and I want to be the person that you can depend on and that you can trust to support you in that growth. And just hearing that somebody wants to help you in your business, it puts you at a whole other level, which is why I'm so focused on being client first. So when I introduced myself, I said, I'm a client first virtual assistant and a mentor. And that really is at the heart of what I help people with. I help people become virtual assistants that put their clients first, that really support their clients in order to maintain a long-term business, right? So many virtual assistants that I've mentored have almost given up being a virtual assistant because they're sick of trying to find clients every month. They're sick of working hourly. And that is not the best way to maintain a successful business and to grow your business as well, if that's what you want, right? So definitely working long term is the way to go. You might start out by taking a few small jobs just to get, a feel for things, but ultimately if what you want is a sustainable income and to have that financial security and financial freedom, positioning yourself as somebody who wants to work with people long term is the way that I've become so successful.
That is so good. Let's talk more about that. We got to wrap up here pretty soon, but I think this is like really, really, really good. Like if you tell a business owner, like, I want to be there for years and years with you, and I want to see your business like be successful. This is like the ultimate thing that a business owner wants to hear, but not only to hear, but to actually like literally feel that from you. Like you have to be genuine about that. You can't just like say that and not mean it, right? You have to like,
yeah, you have to be genuine. You have to be genuine. And now I've grown my business. I have hired my own virtual assistants for my businesses now, and I've hired virtual assistants for clients. I've interviewed like something like almost 800 now virtual assistants. And I'm telling you that you might feel at first like there are so many people trying to do this, and that there is like a huge amount of noise that you need to get through to even land a client. And is it even worth it? And I'm telling you that there is a lot of quantity, but there is not a lot of quality. So if you can do that, and it can be as simple as, I work with clients long-term and I want to support your business. It could be as simple as that. That sentence is going to allow you to stand out from that huge influx of, resumes or applications or pitches that potential clients are getting. So it's so important for your long-term success as a business owner, as a virtual assistant. And it's also really important for those clients to feel like you're going to be there for them.
Yep. All the way. I have an interesting little case study I want to share.
Yeah.
And that's like, I was working with a client through the agency, and they're like, I want you to be my full-time virtual assistant. They were like so persistent about this. Like they really, really wanted that. And like, I was just tasking in this role. And I was like, well, why not this person? Why? Because I was like helping them find somebody to be full-time. And they were like, they wanted it to be me simply because of my energy. Like this has nothing to do with my ability of what I can actually like do. It has nothing. So I just
honestly has nothing. People are mind blown when I tell them that. And I think a lot of people don't believe me. But at the end of the day, clients do not matter. They do not care. They don't hire you based on your skills. Your skills don't matter. Every single business owner, especially as a virtual assistant, you're going to be working with small businesses. Every single business owner does things a different way. So they're going to teach you how they do their things. You don't need to worry about that. Exactly. What you need to worry about is what you're bringing to the table as a human being, not just somebody who, wants to work remotely. So I need to find a job. You really, really, really need to connect to those clients and make sure that you're building your business in a sustainable way. And that's a perfect example. We've also hired people only based on their personality alone. People have even said, I know you really wanted, experience with like, Slack, but I don't have that. It's like, it doesn't matter. Literally, none of that matters. Like we met you, we know you, you're amazing. Nothing else matters. That's it.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and feeling discouraged, like, man, this seems like really hard or like a long road. Well, number one, it's going to take hard work. So if you're not up for that, then don't start. You've got to be ready for hard work coming. But number two, I would really dive deep on the inner work and the inner journey. Because if you're feeling good inside, you're gonna emulate that towards others. Exactly. And they're gonna want that in their circle. They're gonna say, I want a VA who's a go-getter and who's excited about my business and who wants to see me succeed and who's dedicated to seeing the longevity of my business and it growing. They want that. That's what they want. So if you can be that, then I think it's the fastest way.
100%. 100%. That's exactly correct.
So I think we can wrap it up. Do you have do you feel like we're ready to wrap up?
I think so. I mean, I could honestly talk about this like forever. So I mean, yeah, sure. Let's wrap it up. If anybody has like any questions or anything, please feel free to message me. I am like a real human, and don't be scared. I feel like a lot of people think like I'm inaccessible, but you just literally send me a DM. That's what Kayla did. And I got back to her. I sent her a voice note. I'll probably send you a voice note because that's usually how I roll. And yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I have a really great calculator, actually. So a rate calculator that I put together because Kayla and I were actually talking about rates. That's how we sort of got connected. I think that was the first thing we had talked about was, how do you decide how much to charge? And I know that's a huge question for a lot of people. So I put together a calculator that will literally tell you put in all your, numbers, and it will literally spit out the rate that you need to charge. It will give you an hourly rate, a project-based rate, and a value-based pricing rate, which is my personal favorite. And yeah, if you want that, just send me a DM. I'll totally send it over to you today.
Yeah, that is so generous of you, so nice of you. If anyone follow Rebecca on her Instagram, you should be able to see it because you're here live. If you can't, just message me if you can't find her, but you should be able to. And can I ask you, do we have enough time for one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I'm I have another.
Yeah, ask any questions, all good.
Let's talk more about pricing, because I think that's really, really important. So how, I know you said when you started, you were thinking long-term of the longevity of the business owners you were working with. And so how did you shift, or did you initially start with value-based pricing, or how did you make that shift? And how did that change your income once you did make the shift?
Great question. So I think that, so when I first started, I was working hourly, because that's the only thing I knew was how to work hourly. Right. So I started working hourly, but because I had already positioned myself as somebody who wanted to work with my clients long-term, and I really focused on building those relationships, I was really invested in my client's business. I still am to this day. And I would find myself doing a lot of work in my mind. And that might sound weird, but I was thinking a lot about their business. I was thinking a lot about different strategies that we could implement in their business, thinking about ways to automate things. And a lot of that thinking work, there's nothing really to produce at the end of the day, but you're still really thinking about it. And I really, really cared. So at that time, I was working with another virtual assistant. She was working with the same client. So my very first client had two virtual assistants, me and this other woman. And the other woman one time told me, always be billing. So always make sure that no matter what you're doing, you have a little timer going and you're counting every single minute and every single second that you're working. And I thought, well, how am I going to do that when I'm laying in bed at night thinking about their business? I'm not going to be oh, let me get my timer out and, log this as time, right? So I started feeling kind of weird just generally about that. And then another thing that always got to me was that the better I became at doing things, the less money I would be getting paid. So let's say I started out, doing an email newsletter, and the first few times I did that email newsletter, it took me an hour, let's say, right? But as I continued to get better and optimize my process and learned more about the business, at the end of the day, it was only taking me 15 minutes to do. But now I'm only getting paid 15 minutes of time instead of that hour of time. So I was getting paid more money when I was bad at doing it, which again made no sense to me. I'm there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way for me to be able to give my clients all of what I want to give them and not feel like I'm being duped, and not feel like, I should be getting paid more money for this. And then the other side of it is that when you're working hourly and you take a vacation, you're not getting paid, right? When you take time off, when you take a day off, when you're not working, you're not getting paid. And again, that really didn't fly for me, because I'm okay, well, I want to be able to take vacations. That's the whole reason I started doing this. But you get trapped in this cycle of, I need to make more money. I need to work more. I need to make more money. You get trapped. You get trapped in that. So I had read a bunch of books. I've like read a billion business books and all these things. And I had come across this principle of value-based pricing, which is that you get paid based on the value you're bringing to the business. And sometimes it can be hard to write down exactly the value you're bringing, right? Because some things are not material things. So it's not like you're saying, okay, I designed this email. Okay, I wrote this copy. I did this. I did that, right? When you're thinking about things, it's hard for you to quantify that in a list. So in order for me to switch to value-based pricing, I had to rely on the relationships that I had built, the strong relationships that I had built with my clients from the very beginning, right? And to be honest with you, I was so nervous to switch to value-based pricing. I knew that my clients loved working with me, but I was still hesitant. And I'm just going to tell you now that it was, I don't know why I was hesitant, because everybody was like, good for you. Like, we're proud of you. We're proud that you've like made this step in your business. And if you're working with clients that really, truly appreciate you, they're going to be happy to continue to support you, right? Now, I made the value-based pricing sort of based on the number of hours. I didn't like jack it up, a crazy amount. Like, let's say they were paying me $2,000 a month before, maybe I put it to $3,000. So an extra $1,000 a month, let's say, which can seem like a lot, but at this point, the client's business, how much income they're bringing in. You can do a fairly good analysis of like if they can afford that or not. And it was always a conversation, right? It was like, this is what I'm moving towards. If you have any questions, let's talk about it. And all of my clients knew I wanted to continue working with them. So that's how I originally switched to value-based pricing. And that was within maybe 1.5 to 2 years of working as a VA. So it took me a little bit to do that. And then since then, I have just been, that's the only thing I offer. So even now as a business growth strategist, I only offer value-based pricing. That's it. I never do anything hourly. I never do anything project-based. How that changed my income in the long term is that I could make more money and take on less clients. And those clients that I am taking on, I'm taking on people that really fit with me and really appreciate and understand the value that I'm bringing to their business. And that relationship is a relationship that is something that is maintained over years, because when someone understands that about you, they're going to, treat you in a different way than somebody who's just task-based, in and out of their business whenever they need them. No, you're not putting yourself as a reliable resource like that. So how you sort of make more money in this, using this pricing strategy, is that you can take on more clients because you aren't tied down to the exact amount of hours you're providing to each client, right? So again, it goes back to the email thing. It used to take me an hour to do. Now it takes me 15 minutes to do. So what could I do? I could find other clients to fill that time, or that 45 minutes that I've now just saved, I can now, walk my dog or spend time with my partner or do whatever I want, like anything that I want. And it also allows you to take a vacation and still get paid, or take time off and still get paid. I took a month off for my wedding and I got paid the entire time I was off because I have that set in place, right? I also have other things like set in place too, where I don't work with anybody for less than 6 months. And if I've been working with you for a long time, I don't work with you for less than a year. So all of my contracts now are year-long contracts. So I don't have to worry about finding new clients all year long. And I don't have to worry about not getting paid for a certain month, or I don't have to worry about any of that, because I've set up my business in a way that works for me, the lifestyle I want. For me, I hate working while I'm traveling. I mean, if I know that I'm going to be working and traveling at the same time, that's one thing. If I'm going on a vacation, I don't want to work. Like, I want to have 2 weeks off. I don't want to have to look at my computer or look at my phone. I want to be chilling at the beach with my friends, enjoying my life. And then, business can wait. I'll get back to business later. There's other times where I travel in the van and I work while we're traveling, and that's fine because I know it's going to be sort of a working vacation, and it's not really going to be, a vacation, right? It's a working traveling. You're living a nomad life, which is amazing as well, if that's what you want. So that's how I set it up. There's so many other like details. I feel like that was a very long explanation, but that was like the shortest explanation I could give.
I love it. I love it. So good. It gives me one little more question.
Yeah, I know.
I have one
It's hard
more.
to explain it. Honestly, it's for a lot of people. I feel like you have a good understanding of what I'm talking about, but a lot of people cannot even comprehend what I'm saying. So that's why I don't often talk about this pricing model at first, because a lot of people just literally cannot understand how that would possibly ever work for anybody or why a client would pay that. So I do recommend that most virtual assistants do start off hourly or on a project model, just so you can get an understanding of how long it takes you to do things, how much time it's taking you to do things, what your clients are expecting of you. And then once you do build that confidence, of course, switching into this model.
Yeah. I'm wondering, how did you realize the value, like, what was the value that you could tell your clients you were bringing?
Great question. That's a great question. So there are a bunch of different ways to kind of like calculate this. The first one is by like actual numbers, right? So let's say when you're, I'm trying to think of something like general. Okay, I'm working on a website for one of my clients right now. So we're building her website. So let's say, you know, I build that website and it brings in my client $100,000 a year, right? Like, I've built this website, I've put my thoughts, my ideas, my strategy into this website, and now they're bringing in $100,000 a year based on a website that, you know, I created with them, with their support. And I've only charged $100 for that website, right? The value of that website is $100,000, but I've only charged $100. How does that make any sense, right? So there are ways where you can actually look at numbers to do these things. And then there's other things that are not as hard. So there's things like calls, right? So like, let's say for my business growth strategy calls that I do with my clients, we'll get on a call, and at the end of the call, you know, there's no real deliverable, right? But what has happened is they've had like a mindset shift that's allowed them to create a new product that they're now going to sell. And that product, they're going to sell it for, you know, $25 or something, but they're going to make a ton of money from it in the long term. That's going to bring in more clients for their business. That's going to build their brand. There's so many things that action of that call is actually going to spark. So those are the kinds of things you need to think about. And that's why I recommend that if you're new to this, starting out hourly can help you sort of get a better sense of what that is. Especially if you've never worked in sort of like a freelance capacity before. So starting out hourly, getting that understanding of, oh, okay, so I created an email for my client and that email made my client $20,000. Okay, well then, you know, the value that I'm bringing here is much more than just typing out an email, right? It's that value of the business that they're bringing in. So that's a very high level way to determine your value. I also based it on the amount of money they were already paying me. So like I said, you know, if they were only paying me $1,000, I wasn't going to up their rate to like $5,000, because again, I want to work with these clients for a long time. And it was a long game for me. I knew that over time I'd be able to increase my rate and I'd be able to get there. And I could also bring on new clients for a higher price point. But understanding that long game is essential. And you don't really know how to do that until you just get started. So you have to get started. You just have to get started. Just start. That's my advice to anybody listening still, which, hi, thanks for staying on this long, is just start somewhere. Just get started and start figuring out what works for you.
Yep. This made me think about like the kind of clients that you have. Because like the beginning with the end in mind, I think is important here, because you had it in mind that you wanted to go towards value-based pricing. Like, you already knew that when you started. So you set yourself up that way. And I think also when thinking about thinking about the types of clients, you want to work with is really important in the beginning, because I will be honest with you,
Yes.
the majority of people I work with are like struggling business owners, and I've like tried everything to help them, and like we still don't see tons of results because I don't know. It sounds like your clients, either you did a better job or your clients were up on a better foot or they had better guidance.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, that's an interesting way to think about it. So I definitely think that qualifying people is very important. So it's a mindset shift. And for some people, it's hard to understand this because they haven't done it. So when you are positioning yourself, when you're becoming a virtual assistant, when you're becoming a business owner, it's your job to manage your business. So at the end of the day, yes, your job is to help other people succeed, but it's also to make sure your business succeeds, right? Like to make sure you are successful. It's the whole reason you got into this, was to have your own freedom, not to just, be chained to a desk again, right? So I think in thinking about that, you need to understand who you want to work with. And I think these kinds of things come with experience too, is seeing like, what are the red flags? Like, what are the red flags that immediately tell me I don't want to work with somebody, right? So for me, if anyone mentions anything about not being able to afford anything, whether it's me or a software, I just, no, we don't talk. Nope, sorry, we don't talk. Because there are different levels of business owner. So there's like the new business owner that feels like they can do everything by themselves, and they're just going to watch YouTube videos and they're going to figure it out, right? Then there is like the mid-range business owner who knows that they need to invest in things. So maybe they'll invest courses to make themselves improve. And then there's like the best level of business owner, which understand the value that external support brings to their business, that allows them to then focus on what they're good at. So they know how important it is to really put into place, systems, processes, people that support them in their business growth. So ideally, those are the people you want to work with. Some of those people still might try to DIY some things, but those are the kinds of people that will really understand and respect you. And you need to command the respect, right? You need to come in as somebody who is a confident business owner, who's confident in the skills that they can provide, and who's confident in themselves and their personality, and can really step in. And once a business owner sees that, you shouldn't have any problems. I don't have any problems whatsoever, increasing my rate every year. I increase my rate every single year. My clients just expect that I'm going to do that because, inflation, and like I now have another year of experience that I'm bringing into their business. And the other amazing thing about working as a virtual assistant is you can work with different businesses. So you could be learning about one thing in one business and learning about something in another business, and you're crossing over that information to your other clients. So yes. Again, that's another reason why I increase my rates every year, is that I'm always learning. I'm constantly learning. Every single day I learn something new, because every single day I'm working with, business owners who want to take on a new project or start a new marketing campaign. And it's my job to learn and figure it out, right? And that's one of the best parts about being a VA.
Totally. Oh, Rebecca, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so just glad we have you here and sharing your amazing wisdom with us. I mean, this is years for everybody who's listening. This is years.
Yeah, I can't even believe it's been 7 years. It's mind blowing to me. I look back in my Instagram archive, and I see the first pictures of me sitting at my desk and my coffee, my first day ever starting my own business. And I can't even believe where I'm at now. And honestly, I've been able to do so many amazing things that so many people haven't, just because they're tied to a desk. And my goal is to help you, everybody break free from that. So I'm so happy you had me here. Thank you so much. And I'd love to come back and talk, and people message me, you message me, everybody message me, I'm here.
I'm we could do that. I literally could talk to you all day. This is so good. I think the people are enjoying too, because like we've had a steady flow of people. So if you've enjoyed this, please let us know so we actually know like
Yeah, if you've enjoyed this, like let us know. We can do another one like another time, maybe in like a few weeks, and we can, yeah, we can again. I'm happy to do anything as long as I'm helping people live the life they want. That's really why I'm here.
Totally. Okay, well, let's wrap up. Let's kind of tell people like where they can find us, where how they can work with us. And then while we're doing that, if you have questions, and then we're gonna answer them in the chat. So if you had any questions along the way or we haven't gotten to your comments, we'll go through and just make sure we get to everyone. So you know, if so for me, many of you already are on my Instagram, but you know, find me on Instagram at thetravelmovement.co if you're watching this on Facebook. If you're watching this on Instagram, you should head over to our Facebook group, Digital Nomads Traveling the World. And in there, you know, got tons and tons of people in there, all on different paths of life, embarking on their adventure or already traveling the world, lots of wisdom there. And if you'd like to work with me, what I'm offering right now is a 12-week course to break free, work remotely, and travel the world. So if you're still like in the phases of like, I don't know when I could possibly take off. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. I don't even know if I want to be a VA or if I want to teach English online or if I want to, you know, there's a lot of different ways to make money online. Being a VA is an amazing one. And some of my current clients actually are VAs, like through working together, they became VAs. One of them is, or two of them are with an agency, and one of them got hired through a remote job website, literally hired like within a few days of getting on there and finding a company, and now they're paying her and she's doing contract work for them, and it is perfect. So basically, you know, whatever this looks like for you, I'm here to guide you in the decision making and designing your lifestyle and making it one you want to live. That's my course. And I'll hand the floor to you, Rebecca.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm on Instagram. You can find me somewhere here. I am somewhat new to Instagram as a business because I've actually grown. This is something I didn't touch on at all, but I grew my business without social media or without a website. So because I want to reach more people, I've come onto Instagram now and I've been making amazing connections. I just have to tell you how amazing it's been to connect with everybody and talk to you all. You can hit me up on my Instagram there. It's at Rebecca Morasuti. And right now I am working with people one-on-one. So I'm a virtual assistant mentor, and I specialize in helping you become a client-first virtual assistant. And as a mentor, I am teaching you my own step-by-step process. It is a guided directive process that I will walk you through. If that is something that interests you, just hit me up in a DM. I also have a marketable skills workshop coming up. So again, just head over to my Instagram and you'll find everything there. DM me. And if you want to grab that calculator, which I'm telling you is totally worth it, DM me for that as well, and I'll send that over to you. And I can't wait. I honestly just can't wait to meet you and talk to you and answer all of your questions.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm telling everyone where to find us. Find Rebecca on Insta.
And hi, everybody on Facebook. I know I haven't really been looking at you, but hi. We got like a 2-camera situation going on here today.
We do. I do like it.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, I think it's gonna work out.
Okay, so yeah, find Rebecca on Instagram. Rebecca will put her info there, and we'll do like a little like kind of review of everything we talked about today and send it out to everybody. And we're gonna go through comments really quickly. Yeah.
Yep, go for it.
Awesome. Okay. Deanna wants to know your IG name, Rebecca. Is it possible for you to put it in the chat?
Let me see if it's gonna let me. I'm trying to do it right now.
Okay.
No, it's not. You might have to do it. I think it thinks I'm not here. Like I can't see any comments or any chat or anything. It's just like gone. So
okay.
Yes, it's at Rebecca Morasuti, all one word. You'll see it will say client first VA mentor under my name. I do have very different hairstyles. Sometimes they do it straight, sometimes they do it like this. So if at first you're like, is that Rebecca? As long as I have like white hair, it's usually me.
I love your hair, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you. I just started doing the curly version of it and I think I'm loving it.
Also, Rebecca, like, where are you in the world?
So I live in Montreal in Quebec in Canada, which is about 7 hours north of New York City. So if you were to drive 7 hours straight from New York, you would get to my house literally straight. I just have to go right down to get to Manhattan.
Wow.
So yeah, it's great. You know, it's a little cold. One of my goals actually is to winter somewhere that's much hotter than here. That's something that I have yet to achieve due to COVID because we were sort of trapped here. But now we are free and we are able to go and travel again. So hopefully, I'm hoping that this winter I'll finally be able to get to, spend, 4 or 5 months somewhere hot. And again, another benefit of running your own business, doing things like that, right?
Yeah, I saw you're like building out your van. Are you going on a van adventure?
Yeah, so we're just going over to like the next province. We're going back to Ontario for a little bit because we got married in May. We got married in Miami Beach, and there were a few people that couldn't make it down there for various reasons. So we're going back to Ontario to see all of our friends and family and have a little post-wedding celebration.
Awesome. So cool. Like, and I mean, yeah, like there's nothing stopping you. Nothing stopping you.
No, literally nothing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking through the comments here. Let's just make sure we got everybody. I just want to
Yeah,
say,
totally.
like, thank you for being here to everyone.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Seriously, this was so much fun. I hope we can do it again.
I know, I'm like, totally. Okay. Well, we've got somebody packing and going on a flight for 3 hours. We've got we talked about our whys. And somebody is going to reach out to you, Rebecca. And she's
Great.
interested in your course. So that's amazing.
Great. I can't wait to chat.
Yes, awesome.
Yay.
A monthly, okay. Terry was asking about, so you give a monthly rate. Do you charge monthly?
Yes. So I give a monthly rate. What I do when I am creating a proposal, let's say for a new client, is I always give them that monthly rate first, and then I'll give them what it costs for the year. And when I have a brand new client, that's when I will say, okay, we can do a 6 month, sort of like trial run. Because the other thing is I'm sort of vetting, they're vetting you, right? But I'm vetting them as well.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to work with them for 7 years? Like, and there have been a lot of people that I have decided, no, I definitely do not want to work with you for 7 years. I'm good. I'll pass, right? Like, so you're vetting them during that process as well. So once that 6 month period is over and you give them, the monthly rate for those 6 months, then I switch them to the year. And usually what I'll do is I'll give them like a little bit of a discount or something for signing on with me for the year. Some of my clients have actually said, like, we don't want your discount, like we'll just pay you whatever it is. And that's what I'm saying. When you find clients that are amazing and they're a great fit and they appreciate you, they're more than happy to pay. And the other thing is they need business expenses, right? So businesses need expenses. That's how they don't pay a lot of tax. So they would rather spend money on you than to pay the government in taxes. So especially if they're a bigger business or they've been in business for a while and they're fairly successful, they understand the value that you're bringing to the business and the value you're bringing sort of financially to, their income, revenue, all that jazz.
Totally. You gotta get those business expenses.
You have to. Trust me, you have to. Like, that's like a whole other conversation.
Yeah, we gotta do another one of these.
Totally. I'm totally down.
Okay, Rebecca. Well, I think that wraps it up. Everybody knows where to find Rebecca on Instagram. Like, don't be afraid to ask if you can't find her. She's got amazing resources, an amazing course. Like, just look at her. She's the VA queen. Like, if you're being serious about this, like, she's the one, like, to help you through this, in my perspective.
Oh my God. Thank you, Kayla. That's so nice.
It's true. I'm speaking the So yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you, Rebecca.
Okay, bye. Where should I leave first? I'm going to leave Instagram first. Okay, bye.
Signing off. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.